Hi everyone, today I have another speed build for you, and this one is one I'm really excited about. Going into this build, I only had 3 initial ideas that I wanted to execute. One is I wanted to use base game only objects and any kind of other like building items or anything, and 2, I wanted to make it technically a small home. It would fall under the 100 tile count. If you have the tiny living pack, it would be a tier 3 small home, or at least I think so. I'm almost positive there's only like 100 tiles for this house. And then 3, I wanted to use those window potted plants. Like, I was determined to use those window potted plants. That was probably like the number one thing that I was focused on. I mean, aside from it being a base game only, like, because I've never done a build using the window plants, and so I really wanted to create something that had that, and I figured it'd be best to go with a kind of old-fashioned style home, something that looked like it could have been built in the early 1900s or something like that. And surprisingly, one of the other reasons I'm really proud of this build is I didn't use any references. I didn't look up any houses or anything to reference in order to build this. I just did it purely for my imagination, and I think I was really successful in the overall like aesthetic of it, I guess. Strangely enough, one of the key elements to deciding on the color scheme of this house was the pillars that I found to use. I love that yellow detail in the paint of the pillars, so I use that as like the starting point to deciding on what kind of colors I was gonna go for in this build. If you've watched any of my other videos, you'll know that I struggle tremendously with landscaping, but I actually feel like this one turned out fairly well. I mean, you can tell me if you think otherwise, but I wasn't really going for anything super specific or really intricate or fancy or anything like that. I just wanted to make it look like it was a house that, maybe like an older woman or an older couple had lived in for a really long time. So I wanted to make it look like the greenery around their house was kind of like it had been growing there for a while, or it was just kind of wild in a way, but not really. I put a lot of flowers because I wanted it to be really bright and I guess inviting, and then I wanted to have the whole kind of like white picket fence type of look, but like a traditional typical American family home or something like that. So I just wanted to look very inviting, very homey, and then also using the like kind of dirt path to make it look like the people of the house really take that route a lot, like going back and forth from the front to the backyard or something like that, like maybe doing the gardening or whatever the case may be. But if you'll notice, the front door I chose is a blue door. I thought it was perfect. I was so excited when I saw the blue door, because at first I was kind of looking at the yellow doors too, to go with the yellow theme, but when I saw the blue one, I was like, oh yeah, this is definitely it. Because I like when houses have like a bright colored door, or like a colored door that's different from the rest of what's going on around the house. So oddly enough, I would say that the hardest part for this whole build for me was actually designing the bathroom, or furnishing the bathroom, because while I was trying to keep it to a small home, I didn't have to limit the actual size of it, since I wasn't using the tiny living specific pack or anything. But I could have extended the back of the house like a full tile space, or like a row of tiles, what I'm saying, to make it a 2x3 instead of a 2x2. But I was honestly just being kind of lazy, and I didn't want to bother doing that after I had everything set up in the back. So I just left it at a 2x2, and I guess it's kind of in an awkward place how you'd have to walk around or have your Sims walk around the bathroom to get to the back door. But at the same time, I wanted, I figured there's a little bit of space. You'll see later on, I actually put a chess table in the back because I wanted to utilize the space as opposed to just having a hallway. So for the bathroom, when I was furnishing the bathroom, you'll see I have a shower, a toilet, and then I tried to fit a sink in there and a mirror, and I had to downsize the sink in order to get it to fit to where I think that the sim could still access the shower, but I didn't play test it, so I'm not sure if it will work or not. Of course, if you actually downloaded the house and you wanted to extend the back so you can make the bathroom bigger, of course, that's fine. You can do that if you want. Or I would even suggest just deleting the sink, because honestly, they don't really need it. I mean, I put it there for looks mostly, but they could do without the sink in the bathroom, especially since I end up putting a sink in the kitchen and they really only need one sink. So, but that's up to you if you want to keep it that way or whatever. But it is the only bathroom in the house since it is a small home, and I just wanted to make sure that for sure that there was a toilet and a shower. So, but when it comes to the colors inside, like the furniture that I was going for, I didn't really have anything specific that I wanted to use in that way, except for maybe just bringing the yellow tones of the outside in. So that's why I used the yellow wallpaper for the main living area. But then I also wanted to incorporate the blue because of the blue door. So, and I thought it worked out pretty well. And then aside from the yellow and blue, I think I used quite a few green items. Like, you'll see that the dining table has green cushions, or the dining chairs have green cushions on them, and so I wasn't going for anything super matching. I just wanted it to be, I wanted to look like it was, like older, like an older fashioned like old fashioned decorations. And since I was using the base game only objects, I felt like going through the items and everything, a lot of the furniture and decorations and things were the kind of older looking style, I guess, older looking or kind of cheaper looking, or just like not as modern or clean looking, or like sharp angles and stuff like that. So that's another reason why I was going for a kind of old-fashioned house, because when I saw, when I filtered out the base game only items, I was kind of looking just to get an idea of the furniture and stuff that I was going to use, and I was like, okay, a lot of it's pretty old-fashioned. So, and then for the living room, I like that I used the blue couch to again hint at, or to bring in the blue from the door, but I chose this kind of burgundy armchair or whatever as like just a really what's the word? I wanted to have something completely different aside from the blue couch. I didn't want it to just be all blue furniture in the living room. And using that burgundy chair, I feel like it really adds to the, like random furniture, like furniture acquired over time type of thing. Like maybe that armchair was the husband's of the older couple, and it was a chair he never wanted to let go of, no matter what other furniture they had in the house or something like that. I was honestly kind of surprised by how many clutter items there were available using the base game only. Because I was worried that if I filtered out all of the expansion packs and stuff packs and everything, that I wouldn't be left with much of anything to put on shelves or any kind of extra anything. And but a lot of stuff was from the base game, and I never really paid attention to that. And so I was pretty happy, because I really wanted to make the house look like it was just a collection of things like that someone just got over time, and they weren't really concerned about trying to keep their house looking pristine, and just putting things that they like in the house. So I started to move up to the bedroom. The space isn't that big upstairs, but I feel like it was just enough to put a bed and a kind of study area. But even with placing the bed, I had to make sure that it was accessible for both sides, just in case you actually did want to put a couple here rather than just a single sim. And then you can see I used the green wallpaper upstairs to kind of bring the green from downstairs upstairs, but then I also still kept like the yellow details here and there because I wanted that to be consistent for sure throughout the house. when I was trying to figure out which desk to use for the computer area, I always forget that they can use regular dining tables as a computer desk. So at first I was trying to put one of those big ones, but if I tried to put a chair in front of that, it would not have fit. The sim would not be able to walk around it. So I ended up just using one of those small square dining tables instead, and I put an older version computer on there because I feel like it really matched the idea of it being an older home with an older couple or something living there. I think that one of the harder items to choose from as far as the decorations was going through the like paintings and stuff or photos, because I wanted to include things that look kind of like family portraits and everything, or like older styled photos or paintings, but there wasn't a whole lot to choose from that I felt went well with the look of this house. So I actually, at times you'll see that I kind of jump around, like from maybe like decorating the outside or something, and then I'll move inside and put something on the wall that I found while I was going through everything. And that like those like the plates on the hanging on the wall, I always forget that those are available. So anytime I come across something like that, I go and I put it where I think it'll look good inside the house. So, but I also didn't want to make it look like it was just every single base game item just thrown into a house. You know what I mean? Like I wanted it to be something that was actually thought out and something that looked like it could be something in real life, like realistic. Aside from challenging myself in doing a base game only build, one of the main reasons I wanted to do this is because sharing it to my gallery, not having any expansion packs included with this build, it allows everyone with Sims 4 to download it and use it. So, and it wouldn't change anything. There are times when I'll download a lot in the gallery because I think it looks really awesome and stuff. And then when I place it in one of my worlds and I go into the house to play it, I'm, missing objects, or things are like switched for something else or whatever, and it just doesn't look the same. And so I wanted to show them like what you can do, first of all, with base game only items, and then give them the opportunity to use what I create without it being altered or things missing. The only thing is, I believe since I used the cheat of the move objects to adjust some of the things, if you actually download it yourself and played it, if you tried to move something that I moved in a way that it would be off the grid, if you try to move it, you won't be able to move it back to where I put it unless you use the cheat also, if that makes sense. So it's just best, unless you know how to use the cheat to move the objects and everything, is probably best not to try to move anything unless you want to delete it, I guess. What's funny in me trying to start this whole speed build channel and everything is I never realized how much stuff actually goes into creating houses like this, like trying to make them look realistic. There are so many times when I'm building that I'll realize after I think I'm done with one room, I'm like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot to put this in there, and then I'll have to go back and add that and everything. And for this build, it was actually curtains. As strange as that might seem, because and honestly, I love adding curtains to the rooms, like especially if I can use something with like a really cool pattern or different colors or something like that. I always get excited when I get new expansion packs or stuff packs when they have new curtains to use. But I guess for this build, honestly, the curtains from the base game aren't my favorite. I almost completely forgot to put curtains throughout the house, and I feel like that's such a key element to having a complete room. And then once I finish up with the landscaping, I end up adding a fountain, because I wanted something else in the backyard, not just the bushes and stuff or the flowers. I wanted to give them some other element of something fun in the back. And so I gave them a fountain, and then I ended up putting little gnomes and stuff throughout the backyard because I thought that would be cool to use also. And it's actually the first time I've ever put gnomes in a build ever. Honestly, they kind of creep me out. The screenshots are coming up, so I will see you in the next one. Bye!